Hello everybody, welcome to the debut episode of Picks, Parlays And Pints, brought to you by Utopia, located at 12th and Lind, and also Heck Gaming. And I am with Shane Halsey, and every week we're going to pick a few games to talk about a few prop bets, and do some other fun stuff. How you doing?
Fantastic.
All right, well, we won't be doing any high school football because that's verboten, but we will talk about some of the local college and some of the other college stuff. As you can see, I'm wearing my Mizzou gear because of the big Mizzou-Kansas game. We'll get into that here a little later on. But the Culver-Stockton Wildcats had a big win against Texas College. The Texas College Steers, not to be confused with the University of Texas Longhorns.
Yeah, it can be a little confusing, can't it?
Doesn't that sound like it would be like some team like, okay, I got this new video game, but I don't have the licensing yet. So instead of calling them the University of Texas Longhorns, I'm going to call them the Texas College Steers.
It does sound like the old college football games where they had FCS Midwest and FCS.
Yes.
You know.
Notre Dame was called South Bend.
Okay.
Yeah, they're going to play South Bend. So, but anyway, Wildcats, congratulations. Wildcats big win opening week, but it's back to the hack and traditional hack power Benedictine. Now, probably won't be tough to find that on your DraftKings or your FanDuel app, but we still want to talk about the local colleges. And anyway, this will be the big test for Tom Sally's team.
It will be. I'll be out at soccer that day, but I'll be writing something up on the Wildcats later that night. They're off to a good start, see if they can keep the momentum going.
All right, tough chore though against the Benedictine Ravens, that's for sure. Your Quincy University Hawks, proud alum. The Braden Little showed last week. Are they going to do two in a row?
You hope they can keep it going. I mean, Braden looked just about flawless last week. Of course, you're playing a team that you would think you're heavily favored against, but still to come out and really not let the foot off the gas pedal and get things off on the right foot was good to see for Braden. He looked confident and poised and looked like a junior or senior out there instead of a freshman.
So Quincy University on the road this week, taking on Roosevelt. Big win for the Hawks last week as the Braden Little show took off. And what do you think? I think the Hawks can make it two in a row?
I think they can. That offense was humming on all cylinders last week. I thought the offensive line played really well. That's going to be an important group for them this year. And Braden looked confident. Also good to see another local product, Elijah Gannenbacher, played, I think, probably 3/4 of the snaps and got a touchdown in there too. So a couple of local products make a name for themselves in their debuts.
Now, of course, we can't bet on Illinois teams on the draft book back because that's the way our governor stuff goes, and that's how it shakes out. So, but anyway, we like the Hawks to knock off Roosevelt and improve to 2-0 this year. The Leathernecks of Western Illinois continue their Big Ten swing. Illinois last week, Northwestern this week. You know, the money's nice, but it's not a great way to start the season.
No, it's not. That's just kind of the thing with a lot of these FCS schools. It really helps them out, keeping their not keeping their program afloat, but giving them some extra resources to go on and make things better on down the line, and it helps these Big Ten schools get a win early in the season. But it can be interesting to see how you stack up against teams like that.
Well, and again, because of where we live, if you live across the river, well, you don't even have DraftKings or anything yet in Missouri. It's coming. You can go to Iowa. You can go to Iowa and place that wager on Western Illinois if you like, whether you use DraftKings, FanDuel, or whatever. Some of the other college action coming around. Let's go ahead and get it out there. The Missouri Tigers, the Kansas Jayhawks. Missouri's favored. Missouri's going to win. Missouri's going to cover. Don't you think?
Of course.
Yeah.
It would be only fitting.
Well, Shane knows where his bread's buttered, so he knows not to pick Kansas over Missouri in my presence. So, but yeah, so we think we like Mizzou a lot over the Jayhawks.
Bet with your head, not with your heart.
As always, 1-800-GAMBLER if you have an issue.
A little bit of heart involved in this one, maybe.
Oh, no doubt about it. So, also the big college game, it looks like this week, is Oklahoma and Michigan. That looks like a good game day in Norman. Oklahoma is favored by 4.5. What do you think about this matchup?
That's come down a little bit. It started out 5.5. Bryce Underwood looked good in his debut with Michigan. Of course, it was New Mexico, but still looked good nonetheless. I like going with dogs in these kinds of situations. It's the classic. If I had to pick a winner, I'd probably take Oklahoma, but I'd say anything outside of a field goal, I might take Michigan.
All right. So the Michigan, everything swirling around their program doesn't bother you with this one?
Not particularly. A lot of those guys weren't involved in that. So
that's true. I would probably agree with that. 4.5 is a lot, and Michigan might be in a case where they might have a chip on their shoulder too. I think that might be another big one.
Now I do worry about a freshman quarterback going up against the Brent Venables defense. That always concerns me.
Yeah, one other interesting game I thought before we move on to the pros, Oregon, Oklahoma State. Oregon, a lot of people like them. A lot of people like the Big Ten this year. Of course, Ohio State had a strong showing against Texas and made Arch Manning look like Arch Smith or Arch Jones for sure. But Oregon is favored by 28.5 up at the Autzen Zoo.
Yes.
Do you think they can cover that against the Cowboys?
They can. There's a lot of question marks around Oklahoma State right now, and I think Oregon.
Oh my God, he's a man!
Well, it's not going to help the talent he has on the roster. Oklahoma or Oregon, I should say. I think the way they started last year was kind of a wake-up call to them. It seemed like they couldn't get their feet right against the state of Idaho. You know, the likes of Boise State and
sure.
Even the Idaho Vandals gave them a run for their money. And then the way they started last week, I think, shows where their head's at. Wouldn't shock me if they win by 30 plus. Yeah.
So if you're thinking about that one and you're looking for a big point spread to cover, I think the Oregon Ducks are a good one for you. Well, let's head on to the National Football League. As you're watching this on Friday, heading into the weekend, you are going to probably sit down tonight and watch the Kansas City Chiefs and the Los Angeles Chargers. This is Chiefs country and Bears country here. The Chiefs had such a great year last year. They won so many close games. The Chiefs rarely cover. They've always had a trouble covering. The Chiefs are favored by 3. Can they cover 3 against the Chargers in Brazil?
You would think so. That would be a case where you might bite down to 2.5 or just take them money line if you think they're going to win. It's minus 166. That's a little juicy, but it's hard to see the Chiefs starting 0. It's tough to see a 0 in that win column with at least a 1 in the loss column for this Chiefs squad. Now, the neutral site. I mean, you never know. These week 1 games, you don't really know what these teams are just yet. I think the Chargers are improved. Justin Herbert another year with Jim Harbaugh. I think they could make some noise, but it's hard to see the Chiefs at least not winning by a field goal or maybe even a touchdown.
Again, they've had trouble covering the last few years, but I would think 3 they could get in this one. In this one, I really like the over, 46.5. I like that. I think this Chiefs offense has something to prove.
You think so, but you know with Jim Harbaugh, he likes to run the ball, chew up some clock, but he does have a good quarterback on the other side. I mean, 27-20 gets you there.
Yeah.
23-20 doesn't.
Yeah.
The totals in week 1 can be tricky, and especially with a neutral site, you're playing out of the country. That
also,
can be a little.
You remember how that turf was last year? It was bad turf.
Yeah.
So that might slow them down. I don't know. I think, again, I just think Andy Reid, Mahomes, he's got Hollywood Brown healthy, he's got Worthy, he's got Isaiah Pacheco healthy. Maybe Travis Kelce's too busy picking out, placemats and wedding decorations and stuff. He might be distracted, but I think that I like the Chiefs to cover, and I like the over. What is your thought on, this show is called Picks, Parlays, and Pints. What is your thought on parlays? It's a very controversial betting topic.
I'm typically more of a straight bettor. I don't do a lot of, I dabble 2 or 3 legs max is what I would recommend. And usually it's say you have I'm looking at it right here, Bengals and Commanders. They're minus 240, minus 260. You parlay those money lines together. They're both 5.5, 6-point favorites. That's minus 105. If you think both of them are going to win, I might dabble in that. Of course, with a show that has parlays in the name.
We're just merely making suggestions. We're not telling you what to do. Again, if you think you have a gambling issue, turn this off and don't watch us. We don't want you to do anything that you feel uncomfortable with doing, and we don't want you to go down any road you don't want to. I am a strict nickel dimer. $5 here, $10 here. Anything over that makes me kind of twitchy. So I might do a parlay or two. I don't get crazy of them. Got a good friend of mine who does a little bit of gambling on DraftKings and such, and he is a big, I'm going to do this 5-leg parlay, and every time 4 of them wins for him, he complains about the 5th one not hitting, and it's like,
So then that's a case where you bet all those singles, you go 4-1, you get a winning day.
Exactly. That's definitely, I think that's a good way to look at it. Let's just take a look at a couple of other NFL games this week that might have some interest before we get to the big Monday night game, which people will care about. I think one that might have some note, there are a lot of Raiders fans around here, and there's a lot of Patriots fans because of all the bandwagon people who grew up watching Tom Brady and Belichick. Patriots hosting the Raiders on Sunday. Patriots favored by 2.5. New coaches at both places. What do you think about this game?
I would lean Patriots money line, just them being at home, and I think Drake May is going to take another leap in year 2. I just feel like there's a different vibe around that Patriots team this year than there was last year.
Now, and this is an over/under of 43.5. I like the under in this one.
Yeah, with these two teams, it does scream under. That is a low, very, very low total, though.
Because I think Pete Carroll's going to take his young rookie running back Ashton Jeanty and just run. And I think you're looking at something like 17-14, 17-10, something along these lines. So I would take the under in this, and Shane is saying take the Patriots to cover that 2.5. I think that's some pretty sound logic there. All right, we're going to go ahead and talk about the big game, a couple of the other games here. I guess some of you are probably still Rams fans. I guess you didn't decide that Stan Kroenke hurt you bad enough where you could ignore the team. If you are still a Rams fan, I think this one is a no-brainer. Rams at home and only a 3-point favorite over the Texans. I like the Rams a lot.
There's some good vibes around both of these teams. I just feel like, and we talk about home field advantage and all this. The Rams, a lot of times, the road team, if you're playing the Cowboys or any big brand like that, sometimes they're outnumbered in their home stadium.
Yeah.
But I do tend to lean Rams here.
I don't think the Texans will travel as well as some of those other teams you mentioned, though. That's for sure. Let's do the Sunday night game real quick. Ravens Bills, the Buffalo Bills. Ravens favored on the road by a 1.5.
That's interesting.
What do you think?
That's interesting. I love a home dog.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it's not Buffalo in December. It's Buffalo in September.
The farewell to the stadium too.
Yeah.
They're going to get a new park next year.
You just feel like final home game in this stadium.
Final
Bills
home
as
opener.
a dog, but
Yeah.
final home opener in this stadium. Bills have to cover, don't they?
I think the Bills win. How about a 50.5 over/under line?
I mean, you got Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen. That's all you need right there. That's why that's so high.
Do you? I also, of course, really like a Derrick Henry touchdown prop bet here too.
I think that could be one just about if you bet that every week, you'll at least make your money back.
I would also like a Josh Allen rushing and passing touchdown prop bet. So take a look at those. Take a look at the numbers of those on DraftKings, or take a look at the number on FanDuel and see if you like those. Monday Night Football in Soldier Field. The Minnesota Vikings and the Chicago Bears. You said home dog. We got another home dog as the Vikings are favored by a 1.5 with a rookie quarterback on the road.
And that line is so fishy, isn't it?
Yeah.
You see how these teams fared last year, and you see the Vikings only minus 122, and you're like, is this a steal? What is this? But it's prime time, opening week, rookie quarterback.
Do you think if the Vikings had a journeyman quarterback in there, they would be a bigger favorite in this game? I think the Vikings have a really complete team except for the question mark. And I'm not saying the guy's bad, but we only seen him throw a few handful of preseason passes.
Yeah, well, I do actually feel J.J. McCarthy might be an upgrade over Sam Darnold. In the
He had a good year last year.
In the long run, maybe not the first couple weeks of the season, which that makes this tricky. I do think in the long run, J.J. McCarthy, just the pedigree he has, and he doesn't make mistakes, doesn't turn the ball over. I feel like in the long run, J.J. McCarthy will be a net improvement over Sam Darnold. Now, week 1 against a good defense on the road on Monday night, you never know.
Get off that fence. Who do you like?
This is I probably won't bet a dime of my money on this game. This
okay. Monday night's always the night, though. It depends on how your weekend went.
Exactly.
Because if you got your teeth kicked on the weekend, you might try to. I got to make a little money back on Monday.
Yeah, this might be a prime time Monday night rookie quarterback under situation here.
All right. So
two really good defenses. Yeah.
Let's real quick. So again, we like that number a lot. We like the Vikings-Bears matchup as a good matchup, but we don't know if it's a good bet matchup. Again, I'm going to be inclined to take the Bears just because, again, home dog. I think the Ben Johnson effect is real. Mm-hmm. So I like the Bears in this one. So let's do a quick overview on fantasy football. I know you've all got your drafts done. I know you've all got that game under your belt from last night. We're recording this Thursday. It's running Friday. So I'm sure my Cowboys got crushed last night. Normally, we're going to record these on Wednesdays, run them on Thursdays, talk about the Thursday night game and all that good stuff. So, but for fantasy football purposes, how many leagues are you in?
Too many.
Same here. So, how many of your drafts were you happy with?
2.
2.
Well, one's a dynasty league, so
that,
okay.
Okay.
I'd say I was somewhat satisfied with a couple of them.
Who is the player who you are? Who's your bell cow? Who's the guy who you said, "Oh, okay, I'm going to build this"? I tried to get a lot of the same guys on teams. I held my breath and did Christian McCaffrey as like my stud in like 3 teams. I went big on Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'm a big Tank Bigsby guy.
Okay.
Went with him. So those were kind of some of the guys. I got Xavier Worthy, Pacheco. I went on those guys a lot. I think I've got Mahomes in one league, Baker Mayfield in one league, and Dak Prescott in one league. It's all over the board on quarterbacks. So quarterback's always been, I always build my running backs. I go running back, receiver, quarterback is how I build my team, and I go from there. So I'm pretty happy with most of them, like you said. This week, I look at this and I've got one league. I've got Kyler Murray and I've got Dak. Okay, not going to start Dak against the Eagles.
No.
I think Dak is going to roll up points this year because they're going to be bad. He's going to throw a lot. They have no running game. Shane Halsey could gain 1,000 yards probably rather than some of these other guys. So I'm starting Kyler Murray this week because they are playing the Saints, who I think, if you're looking for a season-long prop bet and getting some good odds, I'd bet on the Saints to have the number 1 pick in the draft. The Saints or the Browns. Now, I think the Browns are going to, Flacco might slop them out a couple of early season wins, but Spencer Rattler and the other band of guys they got playing quarterback in New Orleans.
That Saints team is bad.
It's really bad. So I'm looking for Kyler Murray to light it up this weekend and carry one of my fantasy teams to victory. And I also kind of feel the same way about Baker as well. Who do you like on your fantasy teams this week that you're sitting there looking and saying, okay, they're gonna carry me to victory?
Well, we're recording this after the Thursday night game, but I do have Saquon in one league. In my dynasty quarterback's Josh Allen, and then another league I have Lamar Jackson.
Well, look at you. So are you the opposite of me? Well, no, because you got Barkley in the one league.
Yes.
So. Because again, I'm gonna make sure I have 2 running backs and 1 receiver. Now, if there's a better quarterback than that second receiver, and like if it's a 4th round snake draft, although I do a lot of auctions, I would probably go the quarterback over the second receiver if I didn't think the receiver was great. But in this case, like I said, I've got McCaffrey, I've got Henry, I've got Genty, I've got Montgomery. Montgomery was a holdover of mine, who I really like. I know he's splitting the time with Gibbs, and I know Gibbs was everybody's darling, early first-round pick in a lot of leagues. But I still think Montgomery's going to get those 10 touchdowns, and he's going to get those tough yards. And I still think he's going to be a solid number 2 back. I don't want Montgomery to be my lead back, but I think he's as good as you can get in a 2 back, unless you have a snake draft and you go Derrick Henry and Ashton Genty like I did in one league.
Okay.
So I went for the load up power backfield. But again, I look at that, and again, quarterback. It also depends on your quarterback scoring, because some leagues downgrade quarterback scoring to make it a little more balanced. But again, you're sitting there with those double threat quarterbacks. Those guys are always great. Get you those rushing yards. That's why I got Kyler Murray in the one league, because I think he can still do that, especially against a bad team. So, do you feel good about your fantasy teams going into this weekend?
Again, probably 2 out of about half of them I feel pretty good about.
Same.
The very first draft I did, it's one of those teams where I could go, what are there, 14 weeks, I could go 11-3, or I could go 3-11 if half those guys get hurt. I mean, I have a bunch of studs, but not a whole lot after that. So that one I feel really good about if everybody stays healthy and everything is peachy keen, but as we know, that almost never happens.
And if you're in a league with where the waiver wire comes into play, it's not so bad to stub your toe in week 1 and get an early pick off the waiver wire if you have somebody just blossom that nobody picked about, and that happens every year. Mm-hmm. There's always a diamond in the rough.
And not necessarily a diamond in the rough, but one of those guys for me, and he's on this team, is Tedero McMillan.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like with Bryce Young now going into his 3rd year, he really, really played well late last year.
Did.
And I just feel like McMillan's just an absolute stud. And he was at Arizona, so not a lot of people outside of college football nuts like you and I really knew about him all that much.
I like Emeka Egbuka from Tampa Bay. I got him on a couple teams, and I got him late in leagues, and I think he's going to become he's the heir apparent to Mike Evans. Of course, Mike Evans is always the guy you get late rounds, whatever. Everybody waits, or in an auction you get him for $2, and he's always going to get you double-digit touchdowns and 1,000 yards every single year.
I'm the 9th pick in my dynasty league, and I took Egbuka.
That's a great call.
And like he's one of those guys. He's probably going to be starting for me week 1.
All right. So, of the entire weekend, what is the Shane lock of the week? What do you think is the bet that can't miss until it does?
Nothing is a lock, of course. I feel like the Steelers have to beat the Jets, don't they?
Sure. Because your father, Aaron Rodgers, is that why? There's a resemblance in case you haven't noticed.
It just feels like it's one of those, not karma, but it just feels like there's no way Rodgers can go lose to the Jets.
You wouldn't think so.
You wouldn't think.
Although I think Justin Fields is going to have a sneaky good year. I'm not saying he's going to lead the Jets to the playoffs, but I think he's going to have a lot of rushing yards, a lot of touchdowns. There's going to be a week where you will need to play him at quarterback, and I think he'll be okay. He's not going to light it up, but I think he's a solid. Bob's lock of the week, no surprise. MIZ! We're going to cover. We're going to kick the crap out of the Chicken Hawks at Faroe on Saturday. That's my lock of the week. So, Jeff, did you have fun?
I did.
All right. Well, we'll do this again next week. Remember, we'll probably drop these on Thursdays before the Thursday night game every week. And also, we're going to bring on some special guests and do some other cool stuff as well. Anyway, thanks for joining us on the debut of Picks, Parlays, and Pints, brought to you by Utopia at 12th and Lind and Heck Gaming. I'm Bob Goff. He's Shane Halsey. We'll see you next week.